Hi, Dr. Eseryel here. Let's talk about systems development lifecycle. This is what I had introduced to you before in the key terminology area. But before we do that even, I'd like to introduce to you some cool consulting terminology that we'll use in this chapter. First of all, deliverables. Deliverables are the end products of each phase of a project. So examples would be a PowerPoint presentation. It could be a report that you write, that you get the client to sign off on. So those are deliverables. Billable hours, I won't use it here, but I wanted to throw it in here. These are the hours that a consultant can bill directly to the client. So it's very important for consultants, because the higher the billable hours you use, the higher the amount of money the consulting company gets. And lastly, being on the bench or being on the beach sounds as lovely, being on the beach, but it actually isn't lovely. It's the time that a consultant is not selected to a project, so they don't have any project, they're just waiting for one to come along. And the more you are on the bench, the less important you seem to be, so that's not very good either. So let's go on to the first phase of systems development lifecycle, the planning phase. So the planning phase is what we'll cover in chapters 1, which we're doing now, and chapter 2. The first step of it is analyzing, is basically identifying the key opportunity. Why are we doing? What should we do that will give us competitive advantage? And analyze feasibility of it. Feasibility basically means, is it doable in our organization at this moment with the money and the people and the resources we have? Once an opportunity is identified and deemed feasible, then the second step is managing that project. So we develop a work plan. We identify who should do each of the steps, and then we staff the project. Lastly, part of project management is controlling and directing the project. So the key deliverables is system request, that follows the opportunity, doing an actual feasibility study, and lastly, a full-blown project plan that includes work plan and staffing plan. Okay, the second phase is analysis phase. We'll cover that in chapters 3 to 6. First, we do a gap analysis. This is actually also a cool consulting terminology. You could also hear it as an as-is and to-be states. So you literally document the current state, the as-is state. You then document the desired state, the to-be state, and then there's a gap between as-is and to-be. So how do we go from where we are to where we want to be? Based on that, you make an action plan, and then you implement the action plan. So gap analysis, the analysis of this gap. Then we gather requirements. This would be done by systems analysts or business analysts or requirements analysts, where they would do interviews with key stakeholders, they hold workshops, they do questionnaires of key stakeholders, etc. Lastly, they put it all together in a systems proposal. The third phase of systems development lifecycle is the design phase. We'll cover that in chapters 7 till 11. And the first thing you do is, what is the design strategy? Are we going to build a whole new system? Are we going to buy an existing system? Are we going to outsource the development of such a system? So the deliverable related to that would be the alternative matrix. Then we will design system components. You see a deliverable system specification on the right. So we will develop components such as architecture, the interfaces, the databases, the programs, and the deliverables related to those would be the reports, specifications, physical process models, etc. Based on these specifications, the steering committee will make the final go, no-go decision. The last phase of systems development lifecycle is the implementation phase. This is where we actually build the system, and then of course we have to test that it works. Then we install the system, and while the installation is being done, we're also training people to be able to use the system, and we will convert to the new system. Then we'll put in place things that are needed for ongoing system support. Look at the deliverables on the right. So the second one from the top is programs. So we'll write the programs, of course. We have to document each program in case there are problems, or these documentations are also used for training purposes. Then once the programs are developed, developing and documentation are happening in parallel typically, then they should be tested. We'll see if the programs work on their own, and we'll see if they work together with other programs. The migration plan here refers to how the data is transferred from existing systems to the new system. So the data need to be cleaned up, meaning the errors will need to be removed, the multiple entrances of the same data will need to be removed, and then they will need to be migrated to the new system. There needs to be a support plan for the future. Who will be the help desk staff? How will the issues be identified and fixed? Problem reports that comes after, right when we go live with the new system. When we go live, even if we test it very, very thoroughly, there will still be some problems. So problems will be put in a report, and they will be resolved in the order of importance. Change request policy needs to be set up, and also post-implementation audit report will need to be made to find out how things went, how the processes and systems now work, and what else needs to be improved in the next project. So we have so far covered the 4 phases of systems development lifecycle: plan, analyze, design, and implement. In the rest of the whole course, we're going to go into detail of these phases, and we'll actually have hands-on experience with documenting and preparing deliverables that are mentioned in this section.